Truly, I don't know how this study is going to be received by people. But I just want to take you on the journey where Scripture took me. And for the record, no, I don't reject Paul. But I do take his words with a grain of salt. And I very much heed the warning that was given to us by the apostle to the Gentiles, Peter, in 2 Peter 3, where he said that Paul is hard to understand and people twist his words. And knowing this beforehand, not to become lawless because of Paul's writings. So with that being said, let's dive into this study. Jacob had 12 sons, which ended up becoming the leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob's last-born son was Benjamin. In Genesis 49, Jacob blesses and prophesies about his sons before he dies. And he said this about Benjamin, his youngest. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf, in the morning devouring the prey, and in the evening dividing the spoil. So he really doesn't have anything good to say about Benjamin at this point. Throughout the rest of the Bible, most of the times that Benjamin is mentioned, it's not good. For instance, Judges chapter 20, where the tribe of Benjamin does some very bad things, and the rest of Israel goes to war with the tribe of Benjamin. Then we fast forward a bit to King Saul. King Saul is a Benjamite. He was chosen by God to be the king over Israel. And because of his pride and arrogance, he ends up turning his back on God, and things go sideways, and then God promotes David to king. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Apostle Paul is also of the tribe of Benjamin. Now this is interesting because Paul is the only one in the Bible who we're warned about, and we have witnesses in Scripture of him being rejected by people because he's hard to understand. He's also the only person in the Bible that a Christian could use to justify their lawlessness. Obviously not heeding the warning in Scripture or the multiple witnesses. But the real question is, did Jesus redeem Paul or warn us about Paul? Because the only other time in Scripture that the term ravenous wolves is used is spoken by Jesus, where he says, "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves." Back to the tribe of Benjamin, ravenous wolves. In the Testament of Benjamin, he gives a striking prophecy about the Messiah. Straight up, it's spot on about Jesus. I encourage you all to read it. But he says after Jesus comes back to rule on earth, then he will no longer be called a ravenous wolf on account of his tribe. He doesn't say anything about his tribe being redeemed before the millennial reign. In 2 Timothy, Paul tells Timothy that everyone in Asia turned away from him. The largest church in Asia is Ephesus. In Revelation 2, Jesus said this to the church at Ephesus. "You have tested those that call themselves apostles and found them to be false.